Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote. I'm your podcast host here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today on the show, I have Sophia D'Angelo, owner of Boston Experiential Group. Today, we're going to be talking about her business, her journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a sneak peek to what it's really like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this one. Well, Sophia, welcome and thank you for being here today. Please give us an overview of your background and tell us a bit about your business.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. So my business is Boston Experiential Group. Started the agency 6 years ago up in Boston, hence the name, but relocated to Austin about 3 years ago. So we have a couple team members who are still up in the Boston area, which is great. And then just two of us down here in Austin, but we're growing quickly, which is exciting. So my background is in brand marketing. So I was in brand management in both a client side and an agency setting before going off on my own. But I did start my business just about 6 years ago, and we focus on experiential marketing. So everything from brand activations to sponsorship strategy to retail pop-ups, build outs for trade shows and conferences, anything that's kind of in the brand event world we tackle.
Wow, that is super cool. I am in events in some capacity on my end as well. So I can completely relate to the energy that creating an experience, creating an event can do. So that is very cool. I'd love to learn a little bit about the role you currently play. What does that look like? How many hours would you say you're spending in the business, working like internally versus on the business, you know, doing those events and creating those experiences?
Sure. So, over the course of the past 6 years, I think it's kind of ever evolving what my role is. Obviously, I did start the company myself, so I am still CEO and founder. When I first launched, I really thought I was going to be more of a consultant. I thought of, I am a great extension of a brand team who's looking for some experiential guidance, but maybe isn't ready to sign on a big agency or doesn't need it because they have some internal support. So I really kind of thought I was going to be flying solo, but I was very fortunate and really quickly I took on more work than I can handle. And I said, okay, I need to bring on someone else to assist me. So we're up to a staff of 4, which is, small, but I like to say we're small but mighty. And throughout the course of that, again, it kind of depends on the day of how involved I am. I recently heard someone say that you really can't work on your business if you're working in your business, if you're looking to scale. And that has really stuck with me. So I am doing my best to delegate and kind of push, more of like the account director type positions, the client facing roles to my team. So I really can focus more on sales and business development and onboarding new clients and all of that fun stuff. But, it's a grind being an entrepreneur. I probably on average work somewhere in like the 60 to 75 hours a week. I work almost 7 days a week, not all day by any means, but it's pretty rare that there's a Saturday or Sunday that goes by that I don't at least do, a couple hours here or there. So it's definitely a hustle.
I completely understand where you're coming from. So let's dive into what makes your business special. Events are so cool and so much fun to be a part of and have creating those experiences. So who does your business primarily serve? Like if I were to be in the audience, how would I know I'd be a good fit for you?
Yeah. So, what makes us different from a standard event company is the marketing aspect. So every single decision we make for these events is stemming from a brand's marketing goal or KPI, right? So someone's looking to drive brand awareness, driving trial. Obviously, if it's somewhere they can sell on site, driving sales, everything we do kind of goes through that lens. Our kind of target consumer on the client side is going to be like a brand manager. They might be a CMO if it's a smaller company. Someone working within the brand team, who's looking for that kind of outside agency help when it comes to their branded events and experiences.
Oh, definitely. That really does showcase like who you are and what you're working with. And what makes your business unique? Like, why do your customers choose you?
Yeah, so experiential is really unique because there aren't many brands across the world who have it in-house. So it's very, very common to outsource to an agency for something like this, right? Most brands aren't doing experiences, 365 days a year. They're going to have their sponsorship strategy. They know where they're going to show up. They really just need help building out that experience and executing. So that's where we come in. Um, it's funny, I think, from my research again over the past 6 years and my viewpoint, there's a lot of big agencies. There's a lot of big experiential partners out there. And with that comes a lot of red tape, comes a lot of extra expenses that I don't think clients need. And I think something that makes us really unique is every single thing we do is super customized and super tailored to what's going to benefit the brand the most. So, a very, very kind of basic example of that. Sometimes you're working on a retail pop-up. So let's say a brand decides they want to show up and have a pop-up store in Austin for the month of July. That's something where you're going to want 3D renderings, right? The client's going to want to see exactly what they're going to walk through from the beginning of the consumer journey to the time they leave that space. Totally understandable. Other times, a smaller brand footprint, it may be like a festival, something like that. Do you need those 3D build outs? Maybe not, right? Maybe a mood board would suffice. Again, this is a very simplified example, but we don't require all of these extra costs that I think a lot of the big companies do because it's just not needed. I think we work very nimbly and we have the capacity and ability of the big agencies and definitely the creativity and the resources, but we just don't charge you for what you don't need. And I think that's super important. Having been on the brand side, I saw that, firsthand all the time. And that was one of the things that led me to say, hey, I could do this and I could probably do it better.
Very cool. I love the ingenuity and like that kind of that way you're going where you're really thinking about client first. You're really thinking about what are their needs, what do they not need, and how can we best serve them to what their needs are. That's very
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
What is one thing you wish people knew more about your business?
It's funny? It's both a blessing and a curse that we have Boston in our names because I think people get worried that we only work there. I also now own the name Austin Experiential Group to help with to help nullify some of that. But we activate all over the country. Last year we were in 12 different states. 90% of the work that we do can be done remotely and would be, even if we were activating in the same city, right?
Mhm.
It's 95% pre-production work and 5% actual execution. So I think one thing that's important to know is, we are a small agency. We only have 2 offices in 2 cities, but we really do activate anywhere. And luckily, have a really strong partner network, contractor network. So we always have people we can tap into to make sure, we're doing the best work no matter what city we're in.
That was actually my next question because I was going to say, because if you're not on location, how do you make things happen? So you work a lot, I'm sure, with collaborations, partnerships, maybe bringing people in for specific jobs.
Yeah, I think events is super unique, whether you're an experiential or, a private event, corporate event, whatever it is, where you do need a lot of different roles, right? You need everybody from designers to producers to account people to vendor partners to, you name it. And each event needs them in different capacities, which is why I think the contractor and partner network is the way to go. Because, again, I don't want a client paying for someone on my staff that they don't need on that project. So being able to do that in a partner perspective has been amazing. And again, has really helped us keep our numbers in a place that serves the client the best.
Definitely. This actually leads me perfectly into this next series of questions, which is all around marketing, which is vital to any business survival. And I'm curious to what successful businesses are doing. So what does your marketing look like? Like, how are you, like, do you have a specific number of your sales per month that you dump into your marketing budget, or how does that look for you?
Yeah. So again, that's something that has evolved so much over the past 6 years. And if you asked me last month to today, it could be different. It's definitely ever changing. We got really lucky. Maybe not lucky. I have to stop using that word. We're very fortunate that our work right away started speaking for itself. And I would say 80% of our leads over the past 6 years have been referrals, which is incredible. And I think, that makes me feel super proud of the work that my team does and, that clients are referring us to other people in the industry and to other connections that they have. So I don't probably have as buttoned up of a marketing strategy as probably a lot of other entrepreneurs do, just because of the nature of my work and the fact that it's been pretty organic. I don't have a set number. I think as far as dollars I put back, we do the kind of standard, SEO practices. We do Google ads, which have been very beneficial to us over the years, but it's all been pretty minimal. We actually just this year launched outbound sales for the first time ever, which is pretty incredible. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
and it's been amazing. It's been a great driver of meetings and connections and conversations. Our business is also kind of, it's a long lead cycle for this. We're not having a meeting with someone for the most part. We're not having meetings with someone and they're like, oh, we have a project for you right now. Let's start next week. Like it's very much, we want to have someone in our pocket when we're ready to do this.
Mhm.
Experiential costs money. It is not cheap. It's difficult to calculate the ROI and it's a risk. So, the bold and kind of risky brands are the ones who are willing to kind of hedge a bet on an event or an experience. And sometimes it's harder for the younger brands, the smaller ones to take that leap of faith, because I definitely think, to make a splash, you have to go big and bold. So
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now you're working with a lot of moving parts, a lot of different people. Do you have a CRM that you're using to organize, or how do you organize the people you work with?
yeah, so again, up until this year, I would have said no, we don't. We just, have our Google spreadsheets and we're all planners. So we're very meticulous and detail oriented. Some of the tools that have been super helpful that we have finally kind of integrated. We work with a project management tool, Asana, which is absolutely incredible. I know there's so many good ones out there, but this one has been perfect for us. So we do keep track of a lot of follow up and things like that. We have, different sales projects and things like that within that system. Outside of that, we work in Sales Navigator and Apollo, which is kind of same as like a Zoom Info, which is one of the bigger ones. It helps keep track of all that. So it kind of acts as a CRM system we need. But like I said, we're only, 5 months in on this whole process, because up until that point, it had been rolling in so much referrals, and luckily it's still happening. But I realized to really scale, I needed to step up the outbound sales.
That is very cool. Well, thank you for sharing a bit about your marketing and the things that you're doing in that respect. And, I really like to learn about you. And,
Sure.
first question there is like, why did you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed to working for someone else?
So kind of twofold. My dad is an entrepreneur, so I've seen him my whole life. I think subconsciously, I don't remember being young and thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm going to own my own business. I'm going to do my own thing." I really don't remember those thoughts, but I will say, now having been in this and kind of thinking about like, where did I get this inclination or the bravery to even think I could do this? And it's very clearly from him. He built himself up from nothing and is an extremely successful guy. And the hardest working person I know. So I definitely got the kind of motivation, I think, internally from him. Um, the reason that I started my company and went full time and am where I am today is pretty funny. I was working at an ad agency at the time in Boston. I absolutely loved it. I had an amazing team and amazing clients. But I was in like more of like a project management type of role. And I am very much a creative brain. So at the time, I remember thinking, oh, I'll just start something on the side. Like, maybe one day it'll be something that I do full time. But I wanted to do events. I was like, I need an experience outlet. I need to be able to be as creative as I want. And, so my company was super supportive. Everybody had side hustles. And I did a launch party, right? I was like, I'm an event and experience company. I have to launch with an event. So I launched an event. Plenty of the people from my office came. My manager was there, again, super supportive. I went into work the next morning. I will never forget this. They laid off my entire department, 65 people, just gone.
Oh,
Yeah, we had lost a really big account at the time, and they
yeah.
had to just clean house. They didn't
Yeah.
have the money coming in anymore. So they got rid of all project management. And I remember walking out and calling my mom and like telling her what had happened. And she was like, well, what are you going to do now? And I was like, right now, go to yoga. After that, I don't know. But I just was like, this felt like the universe giving me a shove. Like, you just launched a company, just try it. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'll try it. I'll give it 6 months. If it's not working out, I can always get another marketing job. Like, I wasn't, I had, money saved up. I was in a good spot. And so I said, there's no hurt in this whatsoever. And I just started reaching out to my network and, you know, being very outward about what had happened and how I had launched this business and I was ready to take on new clients. And, at first I did anything and everything remotely related to experiential. I dug into a lot of other marketing type roles. I did like some freelance contract stuff like that. I did things like with florists. I was helping them. I like helped bartend at events. I did literally anything just to make sure, one, I was growing my network, but two, I could survive, not having
Yeah.
any of my own clients yet. And luckily that paid off really quickly and spun into the world of CPG, which is all that we deal with now. And it
Mhm.
kind of just snowballed from there.
That is incredible. It's like super inspiring because it just shows like how you got really resourceful when you had to
Yeah, I know.
after yoga, of course.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
the
no
same way.
There's no shame. I tell new entrepreneurs that all the time. I'm like, if you have, not everyone has the ability to do this, but if you do, shadow people, like be an
Yeah.
adult intern. Like it does not matter if it's something you're passionate about. You have to start somewhere and you have to grow your portfolio and get your name
Mhm.
out there. I don't think there's any shame. And in events as well, having, done some of this too, it's not glamorous. It doesn't matter how high you are in the rank of things. Like you're always going to be doing things that are difficult, manual labor. Like, so to me,
Yes.
like you kind of have to have the attitude, like there's no job too small.
Oh, amen. That is incredibly true. Well, this actually takes me right into another question. That's perfect. Um, one moment here. There we go. What is something that you specifically were forced to overcome, like a growth point in your business? Like, I'd love to hear a specific story.
Sure. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I think another one I tell a lot, which I think is helpful for people. So my business is 100% self-funded. I, have never done any fundraising of any kind. And I got to a point where I was so busy and I was burning out, but I realized I was spending my time doing things I could be hiring someone else to do. And I think when you're first starting out and you're self-funded, you're like, oh, I can do it all. It won't take me that long. Like, I'm a smart person. I can figure this out, even if I had never done it before. And for me, it was bookkeeping and accounting. I am,
Mhm.
I can manage a client's budget very well. I realized very quickly when it came to my business stuff, it was just slowing me down. It was taking up too much time. I could have been using those hours to look for other business, new clients. And so the hurdle I had to overcome was I need to pay someone else to do this. And it was the best thing I ever did, even though it was scary because, right, there was less money coming into my pocket. It was that shift in my mindset of like long-term growth over short-term reward. And it's
Mhm.
paid off tenfold. I tell people all the time now, if you can find someone who can do it for less than your hourly rate and faster than you can, just do it. Just pay someone who is better and faster and cheaper. So then I can use my hours towards, client projects and business development and all that good stuff. So that was kind of like a mental hurdle to get over when I was first starting, but it's been a good lesson for sure.
Oh, definitely. That kind of like makes me think about, as you're doing that, it kind of it ended up being a time for expansion, a time for like, again, getting resourceful and saying, how can I do this differently to make my life like where I can invest my time into where I need to be and delegate some other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is hard to do again with your own business, right? Because it's your baby. It means so much to you, right? Every part of it. So it's hard to delegate and let go of control a little bit. But again, finding like the right people and the right partners, it's the only way you will scale, period.
100%. Well, speaking of scaling, speaking of growth, what are your plans? And feel free to elaborate on this. What are you looking to do in the next 3 to 5 years?
That is a great question. And again, I wish I had like a straight answer. I wish I was one of those people who was like, here's where we are next year. I think some kind of overarching goals is I definitely want to keep growing the team. This is something I didn't set out to do, but I've had a team of all women for the past 6 years, and it's been fantastic. I'm always open to anybody who applies, but it's just worked out so far that we've had an all women team, which I think is pretty incredible. So I definitely want to keep expanding. I would love to open in another city. I've been thinking about some other options. Just having a home base, as you know, in any business, that face-to-face time with clients when you are local is so essential. So I would love to open a secondary office. I have some cities in mind, but we'll see where we net out with that. I think the other thing too is, so it's been 6 years of business. Two of those, maybe even 2.5, are COVID years, right? So I had no
Yes.
brand work for all of 2020 and most of 2021 outside of, we got resourceful. We did the virtual events thing. We did a virtual classes. We did kits. We did that kind of brand work, but not true experiential work. And I will say, I think last year is really when things started to like fully ramp back up to speed. So, to me, our kind of North Star of the business over the next couple of years is really focusing on landing some of the bigger experiential activation work, true marketing driven events, because we still do, I'd say right now we probably still have like a 75% split between that and like some corporate, some nonprofit, which we love doing those as well. But I'm definitely looking to get the company back into the pure brand space.
Definitely. Well, kind of like diving into leadership style. You're building this team. How would you describe your leadership style and has it changed over these past few years?
It has definitely changed. I am a very casual person. I am definitely a leader who gives you a lot of independence. I am maybe to someone's maybe it's not the best thing at all times, but I'm opposite of a micromanager. So I really try to hire people that if we have a deadline, I know they're going to get it done. And I always tell my people, like, you work whenever you want. I don't care what your hours look like, as long as you can be in meetings and as long as you make deadlines, like your schedule is up to you. We don't have offices, like true offices in either location. We do all get together to work, which is fantastic. But, you know, I just want people to have full ownership of their schedule. Everyone has so much
Mhm.
going on in their personal lives. And as long as it doesn't affect the work and the quality and the timelines, I don't see any reason to make sure someone is sitting at their desk from 9 to 5 every day. I know that's a very like elder millennial-esque outlook perhaps, but it's worked for our team. So that's been great. I will say I have, gosh, we've had so many people on and off our team through the past 6 years. Especially in the world of like the interns and like, contractor type positions and things like that. I have found myself setting up more boundaries. Like I said, I am just a casual person. I'm casual in a work setting as well, which I think sometimes is helpful when it comes to like clients and stuff. Cause I love the personal relationships. That's all great. But I definitely put up more boundaries with people who work for me, just because it makes the work easier. I had to come over that idea of like, oh, I'm going to be friends with all my employees. Like, no, but that's okay. It doesn't mean I don't support them. I don't want to make sure that they're growing in their career, make sure everything is on track for them, and just supporting them however I can. But I had to learn that lesson as well of you don't have to be friends. Like you have to be friendly and supportive, and that's actually better for everyone in the long run. So
That's a really good way to put it. And you're seeing like the bigger picture of this is a better way to serve them, to help them grow, and
100%.
to, yeah, boundaries are beautiful things.
Yes, they are.
Well, this has been an incredibly fun conversation. I love your energy. Love that you're bringing something cool to the community. And for anybody listening, definitely like check this out a few times, listen to it a couple times, and just like get those beautiful nuggets that we've shared. So I would love to dive into a really fun section, which is it's our rapid fire question section,
Okay,
where you answer top of mind. We've got 4 questions for you. So are you ready for some rapid fire?
I'm ready.
All right. So our first question is, what is the key to success for you?
Oh gosh, persistence and optimism.
Those are great. Second question is, what is one piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Surround yourself with good people, build your network. It can be super isolating when you're starting a business on your own. So whatever groups you can join, whatever forums you can participate in, it's really helpful to see other businesses, in similar stages to you struggling with the same types of things.
Definitely. And what is one book or say piece of content, could be a podcast, anything that you've read most recently?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I read to escape. I've realized I'm one of those people, like I am not the ones reading the nonfiction. I am 100% reading to like kind of check out and not think about my work. So what I'm reading right now and all the time are going to be different mysteries and thrillers. I love like a good psychological thriller. Podcasts probably get more of my like business insight into, and I love Mel Robbins. I
Oh
listen to her a
yeah.
lot while I'm out for a walk.
Girl, we got a lot in common. Oh, and our final question, if you had to choose only one area of business you could immediately improve on tomorrow, what would it be?
Um, Probably the outbound sales just because it's the newest aspect to us, it's cold outreach it works, right? But it can be a little intimidating. And I think we're learning
Mhm.
the ropes still. We're figuring out what's working and what isn't. And yeah, if I could just snap my fingers and get that rolling, I'm thinking, be lovely.
Oh, that is amazing. Well, before we get to our final question of the day, how can others learn about your company? Throw us your contact info, anything you want to share.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, first place everyone's probably going to go is Instagram. So we're BEG events on Instagram. It's fun, even if you're not in this world of hiring. I like to think it's a lot of fun inspo and it's a super creative account, which is awesome. And then, of course, you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find me at Sophia D'Angelo. And then, of course, our website, which is begevents.com.
Well, thank you, Sophia. This has been a great conversation, and we got one more question for you for today. What is most inspiring to you today?
Oh my gosh, most inspiring. Honestly, right now, my husband, he did a total career change. He was a chef for a very long time, and about a year and a half ago, he decided he didn't want to cook anymore, didn't want to spend 80 hours a week in a restaurant. And he's doing tech sales now and just got his first promotion. So that's pretty freaking inspiring, if you ask me.
That is so inspiring. I always get inspired by a good pivot, like a pivot that's like completely into some other new industry. You're
Right.
like, whoa, I can do anything. And that's such a
Right.
great partner. Like, what a beautiful story.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Sophia. It's been a joy to have you on the show today, and I
You.
wish you the best of luck with all you do.
Thank you so much.